What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here. Now today I kind of want to continue off where we left off yesterday, where I was showing you how different miners and everything save power as well. They're earning you more, so you might be better off switching pools and miners to save on power, which means less expensive, more profit, and in general just get more profit because you're getting more coins. Now today I want to come into here and I want to go through a few things, like looking at overclocking to see if overclocking does matter for profitability. But first I'm going to change my miner over and show you how much power I possibly can save here. So if we come into here and kind of see what we got going on, we're around, you can see 3190, 70, 3200 watts in that rough area there. And I'm going to change my miners over and we're going to see how much power this does drop at the wall. So remember, I have a few miners in here. I got a couple GPUs right there. So I'm going to put them all onto, I guess, Pearl hash. I'm going to try with Wild Rig and see if we save some power at the wall. So again, one more time, I'm going to get a little bit closer in here in case you couldn't really see what our power consumption was at. So let's just let that focus there and get an idea. So we can see around 3180, 3190, 32 in that rough area. All right, guys, so I did swap over from SRB miner. I am now on Wild Rig, and let's have a quick idea here of what kind of power savings we did get. So if we look here, we're sitting around what, 2940, 2930, 2960, and then back down to 2930. So 2930 here is what I'm going to use. All right, guys, so from 3190 down to 2940, we saved 250 watts just changing our miner. On top of just changing our miner, we're also going to be earning more Pearl. So less power costs, more Pearl earnings. You know, how can you go wrong with that? You know, that's pretty awesome here. I'm glad I did all these pool tests. I'm glad I did the miner test, so I know who is paying me the most amount of Pearl and who is actually, you know, what miner is using the least amount of power. And it's nice that it works out that the best miners and pools is actually using the least amount of power. So we're saving 250 watts there based on all my cards and stuff. Now, if you didn't check that last video out, check it out right now. But also, if you're running like an AI setup like that with one GPU on a decent CPU, like these are 7950Xs and 7950X 3Ds, you're possibly saving another 50 watts per rig if you get them off of there and put them into something like this or something, because those just system alone is using anywhere upwards of 50 watts. So that saves quite a bit too. And we looked it up and we did the numbers. And if you have like 10 rigs like this just mining Pearl and you don't got them on Vast or something, you're wasting power because you're essentially using an extra 800 and some watts on 10 rigs versus 10 GPUs in something like this. So, you know, that was a pretty big deal. I'm glad I figured it out. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on all this down in the comment section. Now, what I want to look at now is overclocking. Is it worth running more efficient or non-efficient right now? And remember, overclocking, it depends probably on your power price. There's a couple things. You know, obviously heat related is one issue. You want to underclock quite a bit more. Now, when we refer to overclocking as a GPU miner, we're not actually overclocking them. We are undervolting them. So we're running our clocks lower, running our voltages lower, and we're trying to run more efficient. So, you know, and again, you know, if this is running too hot, you know, undervolting will cool them down because they're not running so high. Other things is, you know, maybe you're limited on power and you want to fit more GPUs in, but you can't expand. You know, running more efficient definitely helps. But today I'm going to look at a straight profit. Is it worth underclocking and running these things more efficient than running them, say, stock and things like that for profitability? And this is going to be based at 12% power. When we look at the numbers, you can obviously take a look at it yourself and determine it on your power cost. But I want to see, is it worth underclocking these for profitability right now on Pearl? All right, so I just got my default settings set up here. So I'm going to run through how I'm going to do this, and then I'll get all the data and give it to you. But right now you can see my default settings is 1500 core minus 200 offset, and then a 5001 memory lock. We got 144 watts at the wall for the GPU, doing about 54.98 hash rate. And our yield is 2.279 per day with a revenue of $1.50 at the current price and everything. And our profit is $1.09. So how I got those numbers is obviously I came into the Rabid profit calculator, the manual one. You put in all the information you know about the blockchain, the rewards. I'm getting all that from Lord of Pearls. The block time and the block reward and network hash rate and everything is coming from there. Punching that in, then note getting our hash rate numbers, and it'll give us everything we need to know about the blockchain. You know, here's our revenue, the how much it's paying per day in daily emissions, how much we're getting in daily yields. And you can see our revenue per day, our profit per day, everything. This is pretty much my spreadsheet I normally do. I did a previous video on this that I always did like this for previous profitability. I know a lot of you guys know about my spreadsheets like this. So it's pretty much my spreadsheet made into this for everybody to use. Link in the description if you want to use this for yourself, but it makes life easy for detecting and seeing profitability here. So I will have this available for everyone to use. It is available right now. Also, guys, it is Amazon Prime Day. So smash that Amazon link down in the description. And if you're searching for anything on Amazon, it will help out the channel at no extra cost to you. So be sure to do that if you plan on shopping Amazon, because it will help the channel out. Now let's get on with the rest of the tests and see if overclocking matters. All right, guys, so the results are in. So in green are the settings I would recommend here, and red are obviously the worst. So here we can see, obviously we went through the first one. Now I added in the temperature of 62 degrees with our 1500 core and negative 200 offset. I tried going to 300 offset, and it would just, blow up on me. So, 200 was the limit I had to do for this GPU. Running it in stock, we were 228s at the wall. We did get up to 58.55 terahash, yields of 2.427. That is $1.60 in revenue, but working out at 12-cent power, that actually only worked out to be 95-cent profit. So obviously not as good. Plus our temperatures were pretty warm, 75C. So if we were in winter, maybe we could run something like that. It would bring our power and stuff down because things run a lot more efficient when they're cool. But right now in summer, it is bad to run stock. Now coming in for our next best one. So this might be the best settings for the 3060 Ti. I imagine it would be the same thing for the 3070, but 1470 core minus 200 offset and a locking of 5001 memory. That was 136 watts at the wall. So we saved a bit of power here. Hardly lost any hash rate at 54.24 terahash. Our yield is about 2.248 is what we should be getting per day here. That is a revenue of $1.48. So only 2 cents less in revenue, but it works out to be the same amount of profit here because we did lose that 2 cents of revenue to make up for the only 136 watts. We were running about the same temperature. Here in red, I did drop it down to 1200 core with the same 200 offset and 5001 memory. We were down to only 112 watts at the wall here, but we did get a pretty big hash rate drop down to only 44.1 terahash, which did drop our yield to 1.824. That works out to be a revenue of $1.20 and our worst earnings of only 88 cents here after in profit here at 12-cent power. And our temperature was nice and low though at only 56 degrees Celsius. And here's a medium type of setting here. So I tried 1400 core minus 200 offset, same 5001 memory. Here we have 130 watts at the wall, 51.71 terahash, 2.143 in our yields. That is a revenue of $1.41 with a profit margin of $1.04. So not too bad there. Our temperature is a bit lower again at only 60C, but that is our number. So my best recommended setting here looks to be about 1470 on the core. And you can see based on different overclock settings between stock and the lowest and stuff, we are seeing a decent amount in profit difference. So Overclocks are obviously do matter here, and depending on coin price, if coin price was to shoot up and go to the moon, then I probably would offset for higher clocks here and run closer to stock, but not quite, because we probably would see decent profit margins. But because the price of the coin has been dropping and the yields have been dropping, not due to hash rate increase, but due to the blockchain limiting itself, think KASPA, we're losing emissions every single day as the block reward gets smaller and smaller daily, not monthly or yearly, but daily. So keep that in mind here. The yields are dropping even if no extra hash rate goes on board. But right now we're seeing 1470 core minus 200 and 5001 memory offset seems to probably be the best settings for a nice middle ground there. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section. And this was due on, and I did do all of these tests on Wild Rig, which uses less power than SRB Miner. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit that hype button. I'll see you on the next one. If you have any more tests that you want me to do for Pearl or any other coins, let me know in the comment section as well. I'll see you on the next one. Rabid out.